Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday. We had a little bit of snow this morning. Well, actually last night I had a Hellcat over here in the ditch. I'll drop a little picture of it right here. But the hill is pretty icy, so I just come out here this morning, carried some scrap out to see how the road was, and the road's fine here. So, you know, I'm gonna piddle around my garage today, I reckon. Still waiting on parts for the car at the other shop. So today we're gonna work on this some more. Right now I'm looking up some parts and just seeing what all I need. I'll probably do a budget update in this video just to let you know where I'm at. But we're still gonna be dirt cheap in the hindsight of things here. So I'm gonna get busy with the day. If you like this stuff, hit that like button for me. And I'll be back here in just a moment. Well, I got both the turbos out here. Got this one free from the other hot side. As you can see, there's quite a bit of size difference here. Even though there's not really a giant size difference in our wheels. Especially on the inlet side. Now, this has an 88mm exhaust wheel, where this one's got a 70mm. This is 64.5, and this is like 69.7. So I'm trying to decide where I want it and how I want it, and I'm kind of spot welding some pipes together just kind of get an idea. I kind of want to get it closer to the motor so I can build my turbo brace off the rear engine cover bracket. So, but I'm trying to get it high enough where I can dump the return line into the valve cover, but not be high enough to burn paint off. We do have a turbo blanket for the bigger turbo. So I'm going to continue kind of feeling this out here. I'm going to weigh the difference between these two also. I know we saved a little bit of weight by getting rid of that ugly valve that stuck up. So don't really want to add much more rear weight. So that points me towards this, but at one time I had this in something that was tight, and I mounted the wastegate on turbine housing, and it don't really jive in any way I mount it. I also don't have a T3 flange. I have a T4 flange. I have a downpipe flange, oil line flanges, and everything for this turbo. So I added up our budget cost earlier, and I'll go into that a little deeper later in the video. But I'm trying to make an executive decision here. I know this one will spool quite a bit slower than this one. But the slower spool may actually help us with traction, wheelie riding, and saving the transmission. And it'll be a little softer on engine parts. Richard Holdner actually done a video of GT45 on 3800. But as always with street stuff, you usually try to err towards the smaller side. So I'm going to mess around a little more here and kind of make an executive decision on what I'm doing. So I'm going to get back busy. Well, I've been kind of working along here and still mocking everything up. As you can see, it's pretty tight there. Still not tall enough to return back to the valve cover, so we're going to have to take the long route around to the oil pan. I got our hot side welded up. So I've still got to mount the wastegate, which is still over here wrapped up. Got to figure out what I'm doing with downpipe, how I'm going to run the charge pipe to the throttle body. If I'm going to add an intercooler or not. This is going to be a super low boost setup. It's probably going to be about 5 pounds. More or less just adding the turbo to add the turbo. And a little extra power would be nice, especially in the upper RPM range. So I got to figure out, like I said, our downpipe straight, and if I run it straight out, it would come out the gas door. Also, it would run straight into our tube for our support. So I want to keep working along, and I'll pop back in when I get something else mocked up or figure out where I'm putting stuff. But yeah, I think that's the height we're going to go with. Still got plenty of room for my turbo blanket, and it'll still be well away from anything it's going to burn paint off of. So it also gives me a place to add 2 turbo braces if I wish. I've got a piece of square tube just kind of propped up right there, or I could come off our center bar right there. So I'm going to keep seeing if I can figure out what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. Let's get busy. Alright, and the only reason we're doing this, being able to turbo this car, is we're using old junk I've had in my building and stuff. This is obviously an old piece of pipe that I've cut off something. As you can see, it's rusting here. And we're literally cutting up old stuff out here in order to build this. So I got the rear bumper just kind of stuck up on there with a couple screwdrivers. So I can work on the downpipe. I'm going to get it mocked up. I've got a piece there, and I've got a piece here. Just trying to get it to look the way that I imagine it to look. So I'm going to get back to it, and when I get all that mocked up, I'll bring y'all back in. And I've been mocking up our downpipe here. I've still got to tap this down a little bit, just because of the angle I had to cut the bend in. It'll close up and weld up fine. As you can see, I got it run out under the car. Got a rear bumper mocked up over here. That'll be going away. But my rear bumper has cutouts in it. So I come over here with this 4-inch downpipe. Turned it up there a little bit. Couldn't really figure out how I wanted it to run, but I guess for now we're going to run with this. I'm going to drill a little small 1/4-inch hole in the bottom down there, just so if any water happens to get into that, it will drain out. But most of the time this car's going to sit here in the garage, so I think it'll work just fine. So I'm going to pull our downpipe back off. I'm going to get it welded up and get it put back on the car. Then I'm going to try to figure out where I'm putting my wastegate. I still got to make a turbo brace here. I've done figured out how I'm going to run my pipe to the throttle body. Our feed line will go straight down there to the oil filter housing. Down there. So, other than that, it's looking pretty good. Other than some welding, you know what I mean? Other than that. So, let's get back busy. Well, at this point, I got my wastegate cut to the angle that I want it to come off. I mocked it up in the car. So, now that the downpipe's built, the hot side's built, I know my oil line will fit. I know how I'm going to run my drain line. I know how I'm going to run my air intake. And my cold side plumbing. Now it's time to take this back apart. And I got to weld a turbo brace on it right here. I'm going to put 2 tabs back here on this back wall to support it. Got to take it and take the plasma cutter at the other shop. I got to blow 2 holes for O2 sensors. I got to blow a hole for the wastegate, and then weld all that stuff up. As far as O2 bungs, I'm going to cut one out of this pipe right here, and I'm going to cut this one out of this pipe. Use stuff like that, it saves you a little money, especially if you had it laying around. That downpipe I've had laying around for probably 15 years now. Figured someday I might use it for something, but don't look like that's ever going to happen. So basically, that's how you build a free turbo kit. Had stuff sitting here, tried to sell it. Nobody wanted to be serious about buying it, so we don't have an LS turbo kit now. We have one for a 3800 V6. So I'm going to get back busy. I'm going to tear this down, and then I'll be back here in just a few minutes. All right, everybody. It's several hours later, and I've been super busy. Got all our turbo stuff off. I'm going to take it to the other shop, use plasma cutter, and blow a hole for the wastegate and O2 sensors. But our hot side is done right here, basically. All this piping is used stuff, or stuff that's been laying around out in my storage building. As you can see, our downpipe's rusty right there. So, it's been outside. Turbo's used, wastegate's used. All that stuff's off the LS6 Metro. And while I've been busy, I got a little froggy here and went upstairs and got the engine harness. And we got a wiring harness on the motor. I didn't bother rewrapping it and making it beautiful and trying to hide it and tuck it. Because it's under our engine cover, which is under the other engine cover that I made. This little bundle of wires is our electronic throttle and our OBD. On the Pontiac, it comes towards the dash of the car, because what you're looking at is the back of the motor. I'm going to have to run these wires up. I'm probably going to have to extend them to get them to the pedal up there and to the dash for the OBD. Our ECM, you can see that gray and the blue connector up there. Those are our ECM connectors. It's going to hang out over here behind the driver's seat. But I've been super busy. And got our ECM in the floor. All our main hot wires, our switch wires, and our grounds. And a few extra wires that I kept in the fuse box there for various other things that I may or may not add later. But basically, our fuse box, it's hanging out. You can't really see it, but it's hanging out up there. It's accessible through a wheel well. And that is the factory Pontiac underhood fuse box. And I did mount it with a couple self-tappers temporarily right here. But it's there. The door opens on it. Our harness runs down our support bar from the engine. Super happy with how the harness fit into this car. There's some kind of happy placements of things that just happen to work out. So if you like this kind of cheap, low budget, use what you got, take stuff out of donor cars, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and make sure especially that you subscribe. Things are fixing to start happening super fast with this car. So you don't want to miss anything. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow.